I'm getting back to Yu-Gi-Oh too. Yu-Gi-Oh is a card game that's celebrating their 20th anniversary in Japan, and it's a very popular card game that attracts a wide variety of players. I love watching the original anime that introduced the duel monsters to us and playing the card game in school during recess. So after YouTube's algorithm led me to discover an entire Yu-Gi-Oh community, I decided to get back into the game. So first off, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community on YouTube who are generating great content that keeps the community well and alive. And another special shout out to Ruggles, who is one of the newer Yu-Gi tubers, as his videos really inspired me to stop watching and start playing. The sealed only challenges by Nim and Revcars have also played a big role in pushing me back into the game because they showed us how easy it is to start getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been out of the game for over 15 years, which is about the GX era that really propelled the game forward. Now don't get me wrong, I still love the original duel monsters with Yugi, Kaiba and Joey, but I felt the card game really leapt forward during the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX era with the elemental heroes and their versatile fusion summoning, and of course featuring many more deck archetypes and their supports. So as I begin my journey back into Yu-Gi-Oh! The main two challenges that I'm going to be facing on this journey will be number 1, learning all the new mechanics such as Link, Synchro, Pendulum, and XZ summoning, and number 2, we'll be balancing the cost between playing competitively and collecting the cards. Well, I thought it'd be a good idea to have a goal that will help give me some direction, so I'll be working towards challenging the locals, the regionals, and following a YCS event if we can get there. But really, it's not about winning the competition, it's about having fun with the game. So let's get straight to it. The first problem will be getting back to speed with the latest mechanics. Now, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but I learned the new summonings by watching the first couple of episodes in every anime season. So this gave me an idea of what the concepts are behind the mechanics, but at this point, I'm getting a little overwhelmed because the game has advanced so far, and building a new deck is going to need a lot of time, but we can't stay overwhelmed. So after binge watching Yu-Gi-Oh, the next part is to experience the game. And after a little bit of research, I found that the Master of Pendulum structure deck basically covered every single summoning mechanic all the way up to Pendulum summoning. So I found a deck build on Reddit from 3 structure decks and plugged it into Dueling Nexus and started playing. Needless to say, I was blown away by how incredibly well the deck incorporated all the different summonings and was so versatile. Now it's time to fast forward to the present, which is Master Rules 4, unofficially named. And I did the same thing with a Soul Burner structure deck to learn Link summoning. Now I understand that the news came out that in April 2020 there's gonna be some changes towards the summoning mechanics, but I thought I might as well just learn what's going on for now. So after 8 hours of just trying to learn the new mechanics and get up to Link summoning, I've got a hang of playing the game, and now it's time to start researching the type of deck that I want to build. And my ideal deck will be playing heroes and dragons, but again, I'd like to experience every single deck archetype out there. So another big shout out to Simo and Team Samurai X, because they produce great content when it comes to building competitive decks, and I was spending hours and hours trying to learn more about how each deck functioned. So now it's time to work on challenge number 2, which is balancing the cost between collecting the cards and playing competitively. As much as I like to build the ultimate deck right away, I felt that buying only singles all the way through would kind of take away the fun from opening sealed products. And since I'm getting back into the game from ground zero, I thought it would be good to build some sort of collection in the beginning. And after spending some time researching the cost of top decks, sealed products and singles, I decided that I'll start building my decks with sealed products first and top it up with singles if I need them. And to sum it all up, my first deck that I'm going to be playing will be Heroes, one of my favorite archetypes. Since the Hero structure deck was reprinted recently, I got my hand on 3 of those structure decks, then a booster box of Heroes Revenge, 3 of the legendary hero decks, and 3 dual devastators to get started. Now, I know what you're thinking, getting the singles for my ultimate deck would have been a lot cheaper. But again, the original plan was to build a collection, and I found that the legendary hero decks and dual devastators had a lot of great staples that would help me in building a deck and building a collection overall. Anyway, we're finally ready to build a competitive deck, and I wanted to try the Vision Heroes, which is why I got the Heroes Revenge box and some Vision Hero singles, because I can't possibly cover all of them in one single booster box. And I started off with a basic deck list as shown. I'm putting it into Dual Nexus to get a feel of how it works. Now, I noticed a lot of gaps where I couldn't react to opponents' effects and had a lot of bricking happening. The deck isn't as great at swarming the field as the Salamang Greats because it didn't have that much interaction with the graveyard at this point. So I'll have to do a little bit of extra research on what I can do, and I'd love to hear more about it in the comments if you could help guide me. Anyway, for now, I'll just fine-tune the deck until I get something that I feel somewhat comfortable with. One thing you'll notice is that I left out the evil heroes from this deck because they are a little bit pricey, but perhaps you could take a shot at them in the future once we develop our deck a little bit more. Basically, our deck revolves around trying to get Dread Decimator out onto the field, and to do so, one of the best ways is to use Vision Hero Ferris. If we don't have Vision Hero Ferris in our field, we do have Elemental Hero Stratos, which we can use to search out Ferris from our deck and hand, or if we happen to have Solid Soldier along with Stratos, we can use both of them, get them out onto the field to bring in Vision Hero in our Ferris. Discard one hero monster, and then we can get Vision Hero Increase into our Spell and Trap zone. You can either use Vision Hero Ferris itself or Solid Soldier if you do want to. I keep Stratos just because he has a higher attack points, but that's just me. But if let's say we use Vision Hero Ferris to special summon Vision Hero Increase, then we can special summon Vion from his effect. This is where we can drop in another hero monster into our graveyard, so we can either drop in Shadow Mist to bring in another hero monster. In most other decks, most complete decks, we could use it to pull out Honest Neos or the Destiny Hero Plasma. Otherwise, we can also use Destiny Hero Malicious. So for this demonstration's purposes, we put in the Destiny Hero Malicious, banish him, then we can special summon up another Malicious. Then we have a full board, and then we can start linking them away. We can link up these 3 into the grave to bring out Dread Decimator. So yeah, that's basically the strategy that we are going to be using for our deck. For one thing, I'm still missing Honest Neos, Cross Crusader, and some other cards that will help interact with the graveyard as I mentioned earlier. Now that we got a deck, it's time to go to the locals and get some real world experience. So I just got back from the locals, and I must say, it was a much better experience than I expected. It was a small tournament, and initially I did feel a little bit nervous about going to the locals, but it turned out to be really fun. Everyone there was really nice when I told them I was pretty much new to the game, and they took their time in helping me navigate the effects and explain how the game worked, how the tournament went, and introduced to me the different deck archetypes. I didn't want to sound too pushy about asking to record the games, especially since I was new, but I did get a little bit of footage. Anyway, to summarize, the results of the tournament was me obviously losing all 3 matches, and most of the games going like this.
So I'm going to summon Ruggles. Click Ruggles. Let me add a copy of Dagger Vein. I need a full call for if you want. Oh, sure. Going to activate Dagger Vein. And a copy of Selly Secret to use.
Yeah, it was brutal, but somehow I don't feel too down about it, because I realized how badly the extra deck needed Cross Crusader to function, and I started to get more concrete ideas on what I should be inputting in my deck. My first match was up against Heroes, which is a wonderful coincidence. I honestly thought I might have a good chance of surviving and taking at least one game, but my opponent was using a fully built hero deck, so his combos were working a lot better than my deck. I also realized I was making a lot of misplays and forgetting a lot of effects, which made me kind of realize the difference between playing online and in real life. There's no software to remind you what effects you can activate at which time. The next match I had was against a tier 1 Thunder Dragon and Danger deck. Yeah, it was a really brutal OTK combo that got to me. But I am glad that my opponent was patient in going through the effects with me and helping me along the game. The second match with the Thunder Dragons, However, I did survive a bit longer to the point where we were basically trying to top deck each other. But again, as much as I like to say that I took the match, I was hit by a Nibiru at the very last turn, and even though I drew a mind control, I had nothing to continue to play. That was a little bit of a waste on my part. Finally, my third match was a really interesting deck, which is the Flower Guardians. I really like their artwork and I find the deck really interesting to play. The deck basically relied on drawing and special summoning Flower Guardians, then burning the opponent with damage before synchro summoning and slowly breaking the opponent's board. It was really exhausting for my opponent to constantly draw, shuffle, and explain the effects, but I am really appreciative of him doing that. I survived match 2 for a while because I had an Ash Blossom with me and managed to deal 4,700 damage. But that was all I could get before I was taken out. The local store ran out of OTS packs, so I ended up getting a pack of Immortal Destiny, and it was a really bad pack. But anyway, overall, I feel more inspired to try and improve my deck for the next round. And what I think I'll be working on is finding a good counter for Nibiru, getting Destiny heroes into the deck, and developing a more decisive win condition. So that's about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a great Merry Christmas, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next episode.